Welcome back. Tipsy Tuesdays, helping your venue run more efficiently and make more money. This week we're wrapping up our series on venue sales tours, talking about that follow-up. Last week, that was not a joke. 90% of your deals are won or lost in the follow-up. So your follow-up has to be strategic and it has to have a lot of value and it's gotta be really, really good. I see way too many emails out there just like, let me know what you think, just following up. If you guys have listened to me at all, you know that that is a death sentence to your sales process. So you gotta stop that. In the previous video, I talked a lot about taking notes. This is where those notes are really, really important. So within 24 hours, I have either called or emailed that prospect the information that they requested from me. From those notes, I know that maybe they wanted information about a specific caterer on the list. Maybe they had a question about a policy, something that was in my contract terms. I've answered all those questions. I've gotten that done within 24 hours. And not just that, during my sales tour, I promise them that I'm gonna do that for you. I say, hey, within 24 hours, you're gonna hear from me, you're gonna get this information. So I'm also establishing trust, which is very important. So secondarily, after those 24 hours, what's my follow-up schedule, right? Then I follow up again, anywhere from 48 or 72 hours from that point, okay? Some people might think that's a little too soon. I don't believe so at all. I gotta keep them moving along. It's also very important to make those follow-ups congruent to what they wanted, right? So if they told me they're making a decision right away, then I'm gonna be all up on that, trying to follow up really quickly. If they're gonna push it out a year, I'm gonna space that out a little bit more. In my follow-up, so after that 48 or 72 hours, normally I start pushing out a week. And then I'm alternating calls and emails. Don't just rely on email. Make sure you're willing to pick up that phone and do that follow-up. Let's talk about content now. You had that first follow-up, yes, that had action items, right? But we gotta talk about more value. We gotta be adding more in there. So at every touch that we have in our follow-up, there has to be some sort of value element. So what do I mean by that? So again, the use of virtual tours, the use of blogs. So many of you guys have these beautiful blogs that you just keep on your website. I so hope you're using them as a sales tool. So please be doing that. So let's say, for example, I toured a June bride at one of my sites. So when I follow up with her, I'm gonna send her a few blogs of events that happened in June. So maybe she can see how beautiful my space looks with, summertime. A second example of this is budget, right? So let's say I was giving this sales tour. This bride had mentioned multiple times that she was concerned about her overall wedding budget, how much catering would cost, how much her DJ would cost. I have created a sample budget. It took me maybe, an hour to do. And this is something that I can send out to our prospects very easily and say, hey, I know this was a concern of yours. I've attached a budget to maybe help you out in your planning. And they haven't hired us. They haven't picked our venue yet. But again, this was something I had made that I intended to use to add value. Let's talk about the most crucial thing. If you guys have listened to these videos this whole month, if you take anything, please take this. When you are following up with a prospect, you have to remind them of their state of mind that they had during your tour. How do we do that? Number one, you should have been taking those notes. If you didn't, start today, start taking good notes. So you use key phrases in your follow-up. My favorite phrase to use when following up is you said. You said you would be making a decision within 2 weeks. You said that this was the top priority for you when it came to choosing your wedding venue. I use all of that information from that tour, from all my notes, to remind them of their state of mind, to put them back at where they were during that tour. This is so crucial. They're doing 8 to 12 tours. You gotta put them back in that state of mind. So utilize those and remind, and add value at every follow-up opportunity you have. And then after 4 or 5 rounds of that, it's dead, you get to move on, but you definitely gave your best effort to close that deal. That wraps up our series on venue sales tours. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned a few things. If you want more information on our services, give us a shout. We'll see you guys next month.